1,000 miles of Alaskan wilderness. The ultimate challenge of human endurance. This is the Iditarod. The 1983 Iditarod, a special one-hour statewide presentation brought to you by Alascom, by Bank of the North, and by NEC Home Consumer Products.
Hello, everyone. I'm Pat Lynn reporting tonight from the city of Anchorage. 2 weeks ago was the finish of the 11th annual Iditarod Sled Dog Race, the largest sporting event in Alaska. The Iditarod runs over some of the most remote, some of the most foreboding, and certainly some of the most beautiful territory in the entire world. The trail is 1,137 miles long, and that's further than from Miami, Florida, to New York City. The trail winds from Anchorage north across Alaska to the city of Nome on the frozen Bering Sea. In the dead of winter, the mushers climb through the mountains of Rainy Pass, and they'll cross the barren Farewell Burn, a flat, featureless landscape where blowing snow can bury and obscure the trail. Then up the frozen Yukon River and into the bitter north winds, where in previous years unwary mushers have fallen through the thin ice and into the freezing waters. Then they'll mush out across the frozen Bering Sea, where the fierce winds and sudden storms are a constant threat. No wonder the Iditarod is called the ultimate test of human endurance, the last great race. Now for the start of this year's race, let's turn to our trail reporter, Steve McDonald.
It's sunny and about 20 degrees here in Anchorage, perfect mushing weather for this year's Iditarod. 68 mushers have gathered from all across Alaska, the USA, and from Europe to run in this wintertime classic. There are 10 women competing this year, and of the 68 starting mushers, nearly half are rookies who have never raced the Iditarod Trail before. Each team has from 12 to 18 dogs, so you can figure there are over 2,000 excited dogs here this morning, ready to hit the trail. The first musher is in the starting chute now. He's Ken Ham, a rookie from Bethel, Alaska. You'll notice he's wearing bib number 2. Bib number 1 was dedicated in honor of veteran mushers Charlie Evans and Edgar Nullner, who mushed across Alaska in the original Iditarod Mercy mission back in 1925, carrying precious diphtheria serum to Nome to avert the epidemic there. Ken Ham is starting out strong. His team is not the least distracted by the large crowd. You'll notice the mushers are each required to take along a second person. This is a dog handler, required only during the first day of the race. The teams start at 2-minute intervals. The order is determined by lot. The teams are required to take one 24-hour rest stop during the race, and the early starters must add extra rest time to make up and even out all the starting times. Next is Susan Butcher of Manly, Alaska. Susan finished second last year, and this year she hopes to be the first woman ever to win the Iditarod. Susan Butcher will be one musher to watch, and it looks like she's off to a fine start. We talked with Susan before the race.
The team's looking real good. I'm way more prepared than I've ever been in the past, let me put it that way. And it's a better team than I've ever had. But then there may be some guys out there that are going to surprise me, but they look really good.
Rick Swenson has won the Iditarod 4 times, more than anyone else. He's won it the last 2 years in a row. He's also set the record time of 12 days, 10 hours. We asked Rick, could a new record be set this year?
Trail is supposed to be really good, and it's cooler this year, so the possibility exists for being able to run a little faster. But I think 12 days and 10 hours was pretty close to the max, I think. I don't know.
This man, Larry Cowboy Smith of Dawson in the Yukon Territory of Canada, has never won an Iditarod, but has often placed in the top finishers. The Quiet Cowboy is a hard-driving musher, and you can count on him to provide some fireworks. Experience counts for a lot in this race, and if anyone knows the trail, it's this man, veteran Eep Anderson of Takotna. Eep is racing in his 6th Iditarod. He first mushed the trail in 1975, and he's usually done very well, though he has yet to win. Rick Mackey of Wasilla is the son of 1978 Iditarod champion Dick Mackey. This is his 3rd Iditarod.
Oh, Rick Swinson's always the person to beat for the last 5-6 years anyway. He's the toughest one in my opinion.
How's your dog team been looking through practice this year?
Good. I've had real good training. It's the best training I've had actually. We I live in Wasilla and the snow conditions are usually off and on, and you have to truck your dogs around a lot. But this year we went up to Trapper Creek, and I think I've had my dogs in the truck 3 times all year. We've just been able to sit still and do nothing but train dogs. So it's been great as far as training goes, yeah.
Herbie Nayukpuk out of Shishmaref, Alaska is nicknamed the Shishmaref Cannonball. Herbie is one of the most popular mushers. He finished 2nd in 1980 and 7th in 1981. He then raced in the 1982 Iditarod only 6 months after open heart surgery and placed 12th. So Herbie is a very tough competitor. There are 29 rookies in this year's race. Roxy Woods of Rampart, Alaska is one of them. Roxy has done well in shorter sprint races, but this is her 1st Iditarod.
Well, I hope I can stay up with the leaders and hope I can beat them down the street. No, I don't know. I'll just have to wait and see. You go out to try to win the race, but, I'm a rookie and it's my 1st year and there's a lot of things that I don't know about doing it. So, once I get out there, maybe my biggest accomplishment will be just to finish. But, main thing is I'm going to go out and do my best, and hope my dogs can do the best they can.
One musher came all the way from Norway to compete. Roger Lagarde is considered to be the foremost musher in Europe. Before the race, Roger mentioned that one of the favorite mushing styles in Europe involves the dogs pulling the musher on skis, with no sled at all. Those are a sampling of the 68 starters. Let's look quickly at the complete list as the mushers begin their 1,137-mile odyssey. In past years, the Iditarod Trail began outside of Anchorage, but this year the trail starts in downtown Anchorage. It winds through the city's neighborhoods, providing a peculiar contrast of old and new. The new Anchorage start has been the source of some controversy. It adds about 6 hours to the trail, making it harder to break the record set in years past. The snow this year has to be trucked into Anchorage and laid down on the city streets. Some portions were rough on the dogs' feet. Mushers must start the race with at least 7 dogs, but they're permitted up to 18. They must finish the race with at least 5 dogs in harness. The strictest rules in the race relate to the care and treatment of the dogs. The mushers take excellent care of their teams. The health of the dog is the most important element necessary to winning. Dogs that become unable to continue in the race are dropped off at the checkpoints along the trail and flown back to Anchorage. Each musher must carry basic survival equipment, including a sleeping bag, axe, snowshoes, and food for himself and the dogs. The Anchorage start is mostly for show. Once outside the city, the teams are trucked a few miles to Settlers Bay, where the real race begins. By late afternoon, the teams are well on their way and beginning to spread out along Knik Arm. Ahead of them, over 1,000 miles of Alaskan wilderness.
And coming up in a moment, one of the most beautiful and one of the most treacherous parts of the trail, the mountainous Rainy Pass. It's the first real test of the teams when the Iditarod Special continues. Stand by.
In these days of instant communications, satellites, and space shuttles, history and tradition seem sometimes to fade into the background. Yet without the...
Now, let's join the mushers in Rainy Pass.
The 3,000-foot climb up Rainy Pass provides one of the most difficult tests of the mushers and their teams. The steep terrain puts a real strain on the dogs. This has the effect of weeding out the weaker teams who are unable to keep up. Cowboy Smith has shown early strength, crossing the pass in the lead. So far, his pace is very fast, helped by the excellent weather. Now, 3 days into the race, the teams have fallen into an arduous but pleasant rhythm of mushing, rest, eating, and mushing on. A few of the mushers paused at Rainy Pass Lodge to reflect on their experience so far.
I was really satisfied from Finger Lake to here. They were really clipper along. I like it. I enjoy it very much. I like it here. I like the people. My dog team is good, I'm sure. If it's something wrong, it's with me.
I'm trying to take care of the dogs. The main thing is take care of them. I'm not pushing them, I'm just riding along. But I only had about 15 minutes of sleep in the last 2 days.
Here's a filming all of this.
What?
Oh, I enjoy it. I really enjoy the trip. I do. If I didn't, I wouldn't be here. I think that's the same with most of them. Everyone has a dream of coming up in the top 3 or 4, but you know, there's only 3 or 4 out of 68 that's going to do that. So the odds are pretty much against you, so you have to enjoy the trip, you know. That's, I guess, what the whole thing is all about.
You just can't help feeling awestruck by it. And it's a little bit scary, not too, but a little bit scary. And it just all couples to make you feel like you're just having a great adventure, like you're coping with Alaska by yourself. And it's a great feeling. It takes you back.
Rainy Pass is where the strategies of the mushers begin to emerge as the leaders pull ahead of the pack. We talked about race strategy with one of the foremost authorities on the Iditarod, Tim Jones, author of the book, The Last Great Race.
Everybody has his own race plan, his own way of wanting to go about it. You have, of course, the Larry Smiths and now Eep Anderson runs this kind of race, and Roger Nordlund did, and Joe May won it. Get out front, run your own schedule, and just go as fast as you can and try to hold out all the way to Nome. There are some advantages to it. He's on the freshly broken trail a lot of the time that the trailblazers with the trail committee have put in. At the same time, he could get lost he'd be the first one over a trail that nobody knows. Maybe somebody didn't put the markers up right, and he could lose his way. Rick Swenson's strategy, and it's the same one used by Sonny Linder and other people have done it, Rick's been real successful with it, is to stay within striking distance of the leaders. He's taking it easy on lead dogs. He usually runs with somebody so that the 2 teams take turns out front and takes a lot of pressure off his dogs, makes it real relaxed, and he'll run his race as slow or fast as anybody else goes, but he doesn't want to be out front. He's real fast going into Nome usually, faster than other teams. So he'll look to catch whoever's out front, whether it's Larry Smith or somebody else, and try to pull past him up there.
While Cowboy Smith was contemplating how Rick Swenson was doing, a few other mushers were having problems of their own.
There's this tree out there. I'm going to go back and saw it down and burn it. I just hit a stump, and it rocked me up on one runner, and then I smashed into a tree. And just, if I'd been up just about 2 more inches, wouldn't have been any problem. But my sled matches me. Smashed my chin, smashed my hand, and today I've smashed my sled. But it's nothing that can't be repaired, so it's looking okay.
The marker was moved back off we didn't see it when we went by. And like I say, it was moved. It might not have been one there, but and then we got up there, they said the trail don't go through. We got out about 14 miles, and they said the trail don't go through. So then we had to turn around. There was about 25 of us in there trying to turn around at one time, and one guy got a leg broke on his dog and stuff like that. So it turned out pretty rough. So we spent a lot of time in there on that first night.
I ran into a tree, and my tow line broke between the wheel dogs, and the whole team took off.
The whole team took off?
Except for one wheel dog.
How'd you get him back?
Well, me and the one wheel dog kept going down the trail, and Guy Blankenship was ahead of me by half an hour or so, and they caught up to him just before the Post River, and he tied him up in the trees. And
was pretty lucky, really. And the team was trotting and doing their usual thing, and very quickly they started going as fast as I've ever seen them go in my life. It was just like riding a freight train with a special engine, and I was just holding on for dear life and trying to break them. And just as I got them braked, it just all happened real quickly, but a moose came on down at the team, right at me, in this narrow trail that was about 5 feet wide. And pretty much the dogs dove in the bushes, and the moose knocked me off the sled and into the woods right next to the trail. And he stopped then, and I had a little tree stump about this high that was covered with snow that I was kneeling next to, and I had my headlamp on, and the moose just stood there about 5 feet from me trying to decide what to do with me. And I sort of knew the meaning of fear because it was a big bull moose, and it was about 9 to 10 feet high at the shoulders. It was the biggest moose I've ever seen. And it made a move at me, but then it went back at the team and started stomping on the 3 or 4 dogs, jumping up and popping it with its legs. There was a bunch of barking and yelling by the dogs, and I started yelling at the moose and flashing the light on it, and it came back at me. So I don't know if that was a mistake.
This was in the dark?
This was, it was probably around, 10 or 11 at night. And lots of big trees, no moon, no anything, it was just pitch black. And so I was behind the stump and looking at it, and I thought I was looking up in Mount Everest. It was one of the biggest moose I'd ever seen, and I didn't know what to do, so because I couldn't get out my gun, I kept turning my headlight off and on and trying to decide which is better, because the moose was just there. It was about 5 feet from me, and deciding what to do with me. And finally it went back up, made one more run at the dogs, and then turned around and headed down the trail. And I ran over there and tried to make sure all the dogs were okay, because I was afraid it was going to turn around and come back at us. And we just took off out of there as fast as we could. And at the same time I was trying to get my gun out, and I realized how close I had been to really getting cranked. It was sort of hard to even get the gun out. My hands were shaking so much. But as we were going up the trail there, I drag a rope so I can tie off the trees. I kept hearing this noise and turning around, and there was a little metal chain attached to the rope that kept banging on trees, etc. I was sure it was the moose coming to make its last run.
The dogs are obviously a very important part of the Iditarod. Many of the competitors spend all year preparing their teams. On the trail, the dogs receive the best of care and food. In fact, the dogs often eat better than the mushers. Each musher seems to have his own special blend of hamburger, salmon, moose, beaver, or other doggy delicacies. The ingredients are all cooked up with lots of snow. It's important that the dogs get plenty of water. If they don't, the dogs will quickly fall victim to dehydration.
Well, you don't like my cooking, huh, Mustard?
When the trail is icy or rocky, the dogs can easily cut the pads on their feet. For this reason, all mushers are required to carry booties for the dogs. If a dog becomes sick or injured, he must be carried in the sled to the next checkpoint. There, a vet will treat the dog and have it flown to Anchorage to be held for the musher. We spoke with veterinarian Del Carter about the hazards the dogs face.
A good portion of the trail this year has been old snow, popcorn snow that's laid out and acts as a mild abrasive on the feet. And so we're seeing probably more foot problems, especially later on up in the trail than normal. If we have any ice cuts or anything like that, we can go ahead and apply an antibiotic ointment to the cuts. We also have, we ordered 9 cases of betadine ointment, and we've put a little bit of a steroid in this ointment, and the purpose of this is to help decrease any swelling and inflammation of the feet that you get from running the trail.
Unfortunately, as with any other sporting event, mishaps can occur. When one of his dogs broke a leg and became uncontrollable, musher Les Atherton was forced to destroy the dog. As a result, he was disqualified from the race. At Iditarod headquarters in Anchorage, Iditarod Committee President Bob Sepp told us the story.
Les Atherton, 8 miles out of Kinnick, was having his dog team pass. The 2 teams became entangled. During the entanglement, one of his dogs broke a leg. It was at this time that he had a great deal of difficulty in handling the dog, and on his way back into Kinnick, he went ahead and shot the dog, thinking that it was in the best interest of the dog because of the pain of the broken leg. Rosemary Phillips, right now the executive director, has gone out to Yentna to talk with him and find out more of the particulars. The ruling is completely in the hands of the race officials. Bobby Lee, race marshal, and Del Carter, the head veterinarian, discussed this. They talked with him, and based upon the policy number 9 in the official rules, it was determined that he should be disqualified.
We'll be right back in a moment with more on the Iditarod as the competition for the lead intensifies. Stay with the race. It's beginning to look like some Iditarod records will be broken. And Steve McDonald brings us up to date on the leaders from McGrath.
4 days into the race, the leader is Cowboy Smith, who arrived in McGrath around 2 p.m. McGrath is 389 miles into the race, so Cowboy has been burning up the trail, averaging nearly 100 miles a day. The race is running about 1.5 days ahead of last year's pace. Here's a quick survey of the leaders. In second place is Dr. Terry Atkins. Third place is Susan Butcher. Rick Mackey is in fourth. Next is Eep Anderson. Eep, by the way, has already completed his 24-hour rest stop earlier in the race, so he's in excellent position. Sixth place is Dewey Halverson.
But I think I'm out of it. I don't think I'm going to win any Iditarod this year.
Levon Barvey is in seventh. Dave Munson is in the 8th spot.
I had to show off at the Japanese film crew out here. They were out filming me, so I whistled them up and just went charging past them.
In 9th is Dave Olson. Connie Frerich is in 10th place. Then it's Roxy Woods. And shadowing the leaders is 4-time Iditarod champion Rick Swenson in 14th place with Sonny Lidner. In McGrath, we discovered a Chinese auction in progress. This was apparently a fundraiser to help musher Eep Anderson. This is typical of the ways mushers raise money. Running in the Iditarod is quite costly, and for the most part, the mushers are not rich men. Before the race, Rick Swenson explained the financial pressures of running the Iditarod.
Well, it takes all your money, and it takes all your time. In my kennel, I think my operating budget for a year is somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000 a year just to maintain this many dogs and to go to the Iditarod and possibly one middle distance race. In my good years, I break even through sponsorship, prize monies, dog sales. It's just tremendously expensive.
The race is now approaching the halfway point, the ghost town of Iditarod. There's little left today of the wild gold rush town that thrived for a dozen years at the beginning of the century. $14 million in gold was mined here. Each winter, the mail came in by dog sled. In the winter of 1925, when a diphtheria epidemic threatened Nome, a group of mushers relayed life-saving serum across Alaska. Their mercy mission averted the epidemic, and today the Iditarod race follows a similar route to Nome to commemorate the heroism of those early Alaskans. The first musher to pull into Iditarod was a surprise. Eep Anderson had passed Cowboy Smith just outside of his hometown of Takotna. Eep held on to his slim lead to reach the halfway point of Iditarod first and claim the silver award.
The Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race Midway Trophy 1983. There's 175 ounces of silver. There's $2,000 worth of silver at whatever time we bought it on the market. And if you just pour it in there, you'll get to see the really interesting part of it. They'll all go in. I stuck them in last night. Congratulations.
Thank you. You want me to take us back home for you?
Yeah.
After leading for most of the race, Cowboy Smith arrived in Iditarod only a half hour behind Eep Anderson, but he didn't wait around long. He mushed out into the lead again while Eep was still resting his dogs. A day later, Cowboy was still in the lead. Fighting the sub-zero cold and fierce winds, he probably kept his mind fixed on the prize awarded to the first musher into the tiny settlement of Anvik. It's what every musher dreams of after 630 miles of ice, a gourmet meal prepared by Chef Gunther Kessler of the Anchorage Hilton Hotel and served by livered waiters. A bleary cowboy found himself face to face with New York steak, prawns, heart of palm, pastries, 2 fine wines, and champagne. The exhausted cowboy hardly touched a bite.
Don't mind us watching you eat, do you, Larry?
Well, as they say, only in Alaska. And when we return, we'll have some dramatic footage of the mushers as they head north up the frozen Yukon. The next 125 miles, the mushers will travel on still ice, the still ice of the frozen Yukon River. Constant winds of up to 40 miles an hour create a wind chill factor of up to 50 below zero. The mushers will be forced to ride backwards or even kneel on the runners of their sleds to try and duck out of those bitter winds. The Yukon River is 2 to 3 miles wide at points. Blowing snow buries the trail and rips the trail markers to shreds. 6 mushers got lost on the trail this year, including Susan Butcher and Rick Mackey, both lost for several hours before finding the trail once again and resuming the race. Cowboy Smith continued to have a slight lead over Eep Anderson, as Steve McDonald reports.
Cowboy Smith mushed into Caltag on the morning of the 10th day of the Iditarod. The cold and lack of sleep was etched into his weary face. He was followed a few minutes later by Eep Anderson. The bitter wind had obviously taken its toll on both dog teams.
Overall, how you feel you're standing now at the race? Are you pretty much where you want to be at the right time?
Yeah, but I'm not in very good shape.
In what respects are you not in good shape?
Dogs, tired.
How much time do you think you're going to spend here in Caltag?
No, I'd like to spend about 5-6 hours anyway, or more maybe.
What kind of a race you think once you get to Unalakleet? What kind of race you think is going to start to be?
It's day and night steady. That's what I'm worried about. These guys won't be able to do it. They're doing it now.
Have you gotten a chance to take a look at Cowboys' dogs?
I see them, yeah. They look about like mine.
Are you and Eep going to be traveling together, but you're breaking trail together a little bit? Do you plan on doing any more of that together?
Well, me and Eep, we don't really travel together. We just kind of go down the same trail. So we camped together last night. We traveled about the same speed. He's got a little bigger team than I have. I imagine he could pull away from me any time.
How you doing physically yourself?
Good.
I always hear that the Yukon's kind of a rough stretch on the mushers, as far as monotony is concerned. Is that happening with you at all? Or are you in pretty good shape?
Well, I'm all right. Got a cold.
Are you traveling with Cowboy quite a bit, or just switching off breaking trail and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, yeah, we switched off. Breaking trail. Actually, we're not traveling together. We're just together, that's all.
There ain't nothing you can do about it. It happens every year, you know. You get out ahead and you'll finally get to a section of the trail where it just isn't marked and there ain't no trail broke, and you've got to make it. You know, you just can't sit down and quit. Not that you don't feel like it sometimes, I guess. You know that when you're alone out there breaking that trail in the front, packing it down, and catching fresh skidoos up and stuff like that with making a trail. Some you make by yourself and some skidoos are making while you're there, well, that leaves a pretty soft trail for you. So, you know, the guys who are running, you know, the day behind you, say 8-10 hours behind you, they're going to have a packed trail to run on. And, but there ain't nothing you can do about it. That's the way it goes, you know. It's been like that ever since I started coming over here.
They say depression is one of the dangers of the Iditarod. It creeps up on the mushers. You can see it in their faces, the lack of sleep, the bruises, the cold.
Afraid I might get strep or something. Something that my glands are swollen underneath my neck. My throat's real sore.
How long has that been going on?
Just the last day or two it started. It's getting a lot worse tonight. I'm not getting any sleep, and when I do get it, laying out on the ice is not helping matters any. Sometimes they look so depressed. And I know I feel depressed, so maybe...
It's a hard trail, right? I wouldn't...
Oh, my goodness, it is.
I wouldn't camp out every night. I'd like to go home.
I'm not into this camping out quite as much as people might think myself.
Well,
I can't wait to go home to my husband in my waterbed.
Hey, water.
Getting lost is another thing that rookie, I sometimes think it's a sort of space, outer limits here, lost in space. I've done that 3 times so far, and that's fairly frustrating.
Alone in the wilderness, many of the mushers fall asleep standing on their moving sleds, only to be jolted awake a few minutes later. Most report experiencing hallucinations. It's easy to imagine something moving in the shadows, an animal, or a wrong turn in the trail. This is the frozen Bering Sea coast, a wind-blown area of sudden storms. Last year, the race was stopped in its tracks for 3 days by a blizzard here. One musher got lost, wandered off from his dog team, and returned to find them buried in snow, sled and all. The 4 leading mushers are all within 2 hours of each other. They are Cowboy Smith, Eep Anderson, Terry Atkins, and Rick Mackey. But Cowboy's dogs were very tired as he passed through Unalakleet. He dropped 2 dogs. This leaves him with only 7, which may make it hard for Cowboy to keep the lead. Rick Mackey, by contrast, had 12 dogs still in harness. All these leaders were still haunted by the thought of Rick Swenson not far behind them. At one point, Susan Butcher's dogs simply quit on her, and she had to lead them herself 8 miles in the Shektulik. Cowboy Smith had to physically drag his reluctant dogs out into the ice at Koyuk. The mushers are taking no more rest than absolutely necessary. They're pushing to the limits of their endurance, with the finish only a day away.
At least a half a dozen mushers could win the Iditarod race at this point, and we'll be right back with the exciting finish. Stay with us.
A high-security deadbolt lock from Action Locksmiths gives you the security and protection required for the doors of your home or business. The new Medico Maximum Security Lock is now available at Action Locksmiths. The positive deadbolt action create a virtually pick-proof lock. Action Locksmiths give you prompt installation and service. Once the installation is complete, you can have one key made to fit all of your locks. Ask the pros today at Action Locksmiths. We have the key to your problems.
Witness the future of home television. NEC high-resolution monitors. NEC advanced microprocessor tuner timers. NEC portable color cameras and VCRs. NEC giant projection and rear screen televisions. The future is upon us from NEC. Television has never looked better.
Thursday, March 17th, was to be the beginning of the end of the 1983 Iditarod. As the day began, Eep Anderson was in the lead, but any one of a half dozen mushers were potentially in a position to win the race. And before dawn, Steve McDonald talked to some of the leaders in the tiny town of Elim, about 100 miles from the finish in Nome.
How's it feel to be out in the lead?
Yeah, I feel a lot better if I can hang on to it.
Do you think you can?
I don't know.
How are the dogs
I'm
holding?
going to try.
Was it too warm today for the dogs?
I didn't run today. I just run this evening. It was pretty warm, though.
Did you hold up along the way someplace to let the sun go down somewhat? Cool off?
I slept.
Where do you feel your biggest threat is right now behind you?
I know Rick Mackey, I think.
Do you know how far he is behind
He's
you?
right back. He's not very far. There's 3 of them back there. Herbie and Rick, I think.
But the next musher in was Cowboy Smith, followed by Rick Mackey.
How long do you plan to stay?
Oh, I don't know. I'll stay for a little while.
Well, I really think it's between Eep and Swenson, but I don't know. I'm just going to keep going and see what happens, you know. But these dogs are a little tired. I've dropped 2 recently. Actually, I came from Caltech to Uniclete way too quick. I should have slowed them down. They just felt good on a real nice trail, you know. And where I really blew it, when the sun was up about 10 o'clock, I should have just stopped. But instead, I wanted to hurry up and get down there, and I kept going for a couple hours in the sun, and I can really notice a difference. 2 days ago, they were a lot better.
Herbie Nyakbach pulled in about an hour later.
Any chance at catching Eep, do you think?
No, I don't think so. What time he left?
He left at 9:55, 2 hours ago.
Well, he got it made.
He's going to be the winner?
Yeah. He's the only one go out, huh?
Oh, Cowboy Smith left at 11:40, just about 1 hour ago.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Rick Swenson arrived in Elam around dawn with a team of very tired dogs.
Just I didn't get them trained the way they should have been trained. I knew that when I did it.
Would that be, for Ronnie, be out of the question now and just stick
No. I don't have to win all the time, you know. I learned a lot. I enjoyed that. I would do it again. The only thing I maybe would do is not do this again.
Not running the Iditarod again?
Well, I haven't really. I've enjoyed it, but you can't take a team with 1/3 as many miles on it as everybody else's and try to beat them. I mean, that's... I kept them honest, though. There wasn't anybody, including myself, that wanted to see me win. You know? Really. You know what I mean?
Including yourself?
Yeah, it isn't good for the race if I won again. I had people come up and tell me if I won again, they shouldn't even have another race. They're a nice team of dogs, and there's nobody behind me that's of any threat. I'm going to make sure that they look nice when they go into town.
We just left Elam, where we got a bit of a concession speech from Rick Swenson. He says there's no possible way he's going to be able to catch you guys at all. He's going to sort of become a camper, so to speak, just take it easy and enjoy the scenery on the way in. He says there's just no way he's going to be able to overtake and catch you guys. What do you, that bolster your spirits a little bit?
Yeah, that just, that makes me feel real good. I was worried about that guy all last night. In fact, I was figuring it out in my head that I'd be lucky if I could get 3rd. Real lucky. I figured, I thought Eep would be able to get first. Eep or Swenson, one of them, you know, and I thought Sonny would catch us. And I figured those 3 guys probably would have me. I thought maybe I could get Sonny, maybe not. But it looked like 3rd or 4th to me last night, and right now it's looking like 1st or 2nd.
So your spirits are a lot better than they were last night in Elam.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's why there's no sense sleeping and getting sidetracked. Towards safety, get 30, 40 miles from Nome, I'm going to start pushing them. And I'm going to drive them for everything they got in them. And I'll probably have to drop a couple more dogs when I hit safety. And I'm going to keep right on driving. I'm going to try to catch up with Eep. And maybe I will and maybe I won't. But one thing about it, I'm going to try like hell.
By afternoon, it was becoming apparent that Eep Anderson and Rick Mackey were going to duel it out on the ice over the last few miles of the race. Eep's lead was gradually diminishing, while Rick Mackey's team continued to look strong. As darkness fell, they left the last checkpoint called safety. Eep was only 13 minutes ahead. With just 22 miles left to go, this 1,137-mile race was coming down to a photo finish. Crowds lined the streets in Nome waiting for the mushers. It had been a relatively warm day, 38 degrees in Nome. Around 11:30, the winner appeared on the outskirts of Nome. It was Rick Mackey.
I don't know. I always had a pretty good chance. I just, I was really worried about Swenson and Sonny because they had been camping so much. Last night, I was looking over my shoulder all the way, expecting them guys to come flying by, and I got to Gullivan about daylight, and I was looking back across that ice, and no dog teams, you know, and got to White Mountain, and I was thinking, well, if I can get to White Mountain before they do, I might have a chance, and shoot, they never showed up. I couldn't believe it. But I tell you, it changes from day to day pretty much in this race. One day, certain guys' dogs look exceptionally well, and yours don't look quite so good, and then the next day, you know, theirs are kind of bummed out, and yours are barking to go again, and it really, in a 2-week period, a lot can happen, and it does.
1 hour and 40 minutes later, Eep Anderson had to lead his tired dog team across the finish line. Eep, you came pretty close there, though, on the last part of this race, though, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, they got too tired.
The heat coming through the day, did it just take the rest of it out?
Yeah. 70-mile stretch was too much.
Still, you ran a good race, a good pace all the way
we
through.
give them a try anyway.
Sure did. Thanks a lot, Eep.
Yeah.
Good job. So, Eep Anderson.
Damn, means I have to run it again. Now you got to run it again. That's right. Hello. Hey.
At 4:19 in the morning, Cowboy Smith walked in off the ice to claim third. And as dawn broke in Nome, Herbie Nayukpuk mushed in to place fourth. But the honor in the Iditarod lies more in finishing than in winning the race. Just to say I mushed the Iditarod Trail is quite an accomplishment.
So the great race is over for this year with Rick Mackey the winner in 12 days, 14 hours, 10 minutes, and 40 seconds. We'll visit with Rick Mackey and take a look at the complete final standings of the Iditarod when we return. Stand by.
Witness the future of home television. NEC high-resolution monitors. NEC advanced microprocessor tuner timers. NEC portable color cameras and VCRs. NEC giant projection and rear screen televisions. The future is upon us from NEC. Television has never looked better.
Another cold landing. It's not easy being a duck. Hey, what's going on over there?
Woodridge. A brand new condominium for people.
People?
Oh, boy, free food.
Looks nice.
Yeah, right on the water in Anchorage. Fireplaces, balconies, great views.
Let's go take a look.
Yeah, let's go. They even have heated garages.
Heated garages?
Boy, people got it made.
Would they take ducks? Woodridge at East 40th off Boniface Parkway, presented by Caldwell Banker, Jack White Company.
And bring some bread for the ducks, would you?
Our man on the Iditarod Trail this year, Steve McDonald, joined the race winner, Rick Mackey, at his home in Trapper Creek following the race for this look back along the trail.
Let's talk about your strategy, first of all. What was your strategy going into the race, and how did it change as the race wore on?
Well, when I went into the race, I was planning on going out there and possibly setting the pace and just, I mean, I knew my best chance was to go as, not necessarily as that fast, but as far as I could each day. And I was hoping Cowboy had a good team because I knew he would have the same strategy, you know, just go for it. And if we crash, that's the way it is. If we don't, we're going to get a lead on a lot of them that are going to hold back and wait to make their moves. And as it turned out, Cowboy had more of a dog team than I even expected, and I realized that by Nikolai, hey, I wasn't going to sit any pace any faster, and he was going.
When did you realize that you had the race won? When did you come over you that you said, geez, I got a great shot at this, and I'm going to win it?
Well, at White Mountain, I knew I had a chance. I didn't really know. I thought it was like 50-50. I mean, Eep had 2 hours on me, and that's a lot of time to make up in 70 miles. There's a lot of big uphills, and on a level ground, I mean, I was just pumping like heck, and the lines were dragging on the ground. I figured, you dogs just walk. It's not gonna take nothing out of you. And we get on the other side and it cools off, then you guys do your job. But I mean, I was really beat. I tell you, I smoke a lot of cigarettes and running up them hills. Oh, I'd jump on for a second, and I'd think, shoot, you can't win if you're riding. And I'd just get off and run like heck again. And all of a sudden I hear this little voice off on the side. I didn't even see anything as I was coming up to it, but he's 8.5 miles in front of you. And I look over here, and here's this little Eskimo man sitting over on a snow machine, quite a ways off, just sitting there. And I really didn't. I guess I heard him, but I just go, what? And he goes, he's 8.5 miles in front of you. And then things really started clicking. I went, geez, only 8.5 miles in front of me, and maybe I can win. There's about 35, 40 miles, something like that to go. And the thing was, we were both trying to be sneaky. I had my headlight off, and he had his off. And he didn't know how close I was to him, but of course I did, leaving safety. And so I'm just keeping my leader on them tracks as much as possible, And next thing I know, the leaders kind of bunch up. So I flipped my light on real quick, and they had ran right into the back of Eep's legs. I mean, just right into the back of his legs. And so I hit my brake real quick, and that straightened the line out. And Eep looked over his shoulder like this, and then kind of up at me, and he goes, go on by. And so I did, and I said something to him like, I didn't realize you were that close. See you later or something, And I mean, I didn't really mean to run into the guy. I mean, he was tired. We were both really tired, but I mean, he was just going along, real slow, and all of a sudden, boom! These leaders ran right into the guy's legs, and I mean, then we were moving pretty good. And next thing I know, there he was. But I went by him, and then. I mean, my team had been looking really excellent right up to the time I passed him. And then all of a sudden, there was one big dog I had in the wheel. He was all of a sudden looking really tired. And I stopped and I switched leaders again. And I looked up as I was changing leaders, and here comes Eep. I mean, his headlights, he's just behind that sled pumping, it's moving up and down, And, I'm just panicking, thinking, oh, boy, I blew it. I never should have. I mean, now he's chasing me, and I've got to push my dogs to try to stay in front of him. And he's chasing my light if I keep it on, And anyway, so I take off, and I was a nervous wreck until we got about 5 miles from Nome by the roadhouse there. I started crossing them roads, and I was asking people, where's Eep at? And everybody's going, oh, he's way back there. Nobody knows. And I'm going, no way. I see his light back there, And from the time I saw his light there at Cape Nome, I thought I kept seeing it, and really he was way back there. As it turned out, someone told me it was a three-wheeler going over the bumps. Maybe it was, I don't know, but still I wasn't convinced I'd won the race until I was about at the roadhouse there. And then I knew even if he caught us, well, they call it no man's land from there in, where you don't have to stop your team and let the other guy pass you. So I figured if I seen him catching up with me, I mean really closing in, I could drive my dogs that last 5 miles, and I'd have a pretty good chance, of staying in front of him. I don't know. It was really something to know. Here I am, the first one. I mean, I've just dreamed about it for years, and to really be in that position, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but you finally did it. It's hard to believe, actually. I'm coming down the street, and I'm thinking, geez, I'm the first one here. I just can't believe it. Well, them dogs were going good, though. I don't know how to really explain it. I don't know, you get away from the whole rest of the world in a way. I mean, you're out there for 2 weeks, and it's you and your dogs against the wind and the snow and the mountains and the open water or the ice or whatever, and you're just you're a little dinky spot in this land, and it just gives me a good feeling to know me and my dogs can travel through here, and and enjoy what we're doing. You know, I mean, you're just out here a little bitty guy, like I say, and it makes me feel good to be able to do that. I'm real comfortable out there. It's, I don't know. Sometimes it's awful hard, and you think, why the heck am I here? But at the same time, it's all well worth it. You make it through them tough spots. And
So Rick Mackey won $24,000 for winning this year's Iditarod. The balance of the $100,000 purse was shared among the top 20 finishers. Let's take a look now at the complete final standings. Rick Swenson placed 5th, and he was given the Sportsmanship Award, voted by the other mushers. Just 2 weeks after the Iditarod, Rick Swenson won the 400-mile All-Alaska Sweepstakes by combining the best dogs from his team and that of Sonny Linder. Susan Butcher placed highest among the women for the 2nd year in a row. She